Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the April monthly provider meeting. We appreciate everyone's flexibility with the meeting date as we prepare for our move to Otari Parkway. Our move is scheduled to begin next Monday, the 21st, and the movers estimate it will take 3 days. Our IT division will be using a phased approach to minimize disruption as much as possible. All phone numbers will remain the same, and we will continue to send and receive mail from our current location at 3440 Hardin Street until the move is complete. And once complete, we will post an announcement on our website with the new mailing address. So the move to Otari Parkway is a very fluid situation, so we ask for your patience as we work out logistics and get settled in the new building. So next up is a legislative update. So last Thursday, S2 was read for the third time in the House and returned to the Senate with amendments. The Senate will have to take up the amendment on the floor, and that could happen as early as this week. If passed by the Senate, it will then be sent to the governor for signature. So that's all I have.
All right, I think there aren't any questions right now. I'm going to kind of monitor those for y'all, Courtney. Margaret, I think you are up next.
Great. Thank you, Lori. And hello, everyone. Good to be with you this afternoon. Just a couple of updates from the DHHS side, and then I know there's some questions that have come in. We are finalizing some policy updates that will be forthcoming for review. So we are updating in the HCBS manual, provider manual, 3 main areas that has to do with children's attendant care that we are adding as a self-directed service for medically complex children on the MCC waiver. That is only for participants in the waiver, but that policy update will be in this draft release. We are also updating our HCBS settings policy. This transitions us from the statewide transition plan that we had been under with CMS during the course of implementation of all of the HCBS requirements. And this puts our ongoing policy into our HCBS provider manual versus the statewide transition plan. So that is another update that's coming. And also updates the manual with the caregiver coaching service. It's currently in our final internal review. We intend to post it for a 30-day comment period. And so we hope over the course of the next couple of weeks or so, we will have that out for that comment period. Just wanted to make mention of that. We also have just completed our day services provider survey. We did provide some clarification to those who responded to the survey on one particular item, and then allowed for some additional time, I believe through April 4th, for completion of that survey. So I just want to say thank you to the providers that did complete the survey and submit responses, as well as the great partnership and participation that we've had along the way to help inform that process. That is a survey approach that helps us as one additional piece of information as we're reviewing rates. We conducted a similar survey effort with residential habilitation services to review all of the different inputs on an independent rate model. And so we have just closed on the day services survey. So thank you for your participation on that. And just a couple of updates on questions related to kind of where we are with updates to rates as well as cost reports. certainly I'm in close contact with our finance folks. We did not intend to make any changes for the current year for cost report format or templates. As we move to fee for service from for the waiver services to direct billing, our intent was to still have cost reports for at least a couple of years to give us additional information to bounce against. Although we have been utilizing a separate rate methodology, just gives us a bit of a gut check to help with during that transition to make sure we were in the right space as it relates to rates. We will be talking with finance about at what point do we no longer need those cost reports for the direct billing or fee for service waiver services. So expect information to come. Nothing has changed as of yet, but we will be in discussion about any changes in the future years. On the ICF front, those cost reports are still required. So no changes to the ICF as we are working on that project for transitioning that to direct billing. So no changes for requirements around ICF cost reports. We often get questions, as we know this is the time when many providers are working on budgets as well as looking forward to the next year. So as we have discussed in several meetings with provider groups, we in terms of what has changed with the proviso and the process going forward, we plan to review rates annually and calculate any impact of an inflationary adjustment. We will include anything related to inflationary adjustments, beginning with our annual budget request for state fiscal year 26-27. So that would mean starting with July 2026 and the state fiscal year that starts then. Any rate increases based on inflationary impacts would be contingent upon funding by the General Assembly. So while we don't expect any cost of living or rate actions for this coming July, for July 2025, we would thereafter be doing an annual review for any inflationary impact on the rates. So wanted to provide that update. Let's see, I spoke to the services, the surveys. Any adjustments based on analysis of those survey results and other inputs for rates as it relates to residential habilitation and day services would be evaluated for the state fiscal 27 budget cycle. And I believe there was also a question related to targeted case management and case management rates. So we do not have any current rate actions planned for the current year. We have started a fiscal impact study on the targeted case management rates in comparison to where we have waiver case management rates. So no outcome from that analysis, but we have put that into our rate review process, which would take into account what fiscal impact if we were to take any action related to targeted case management. So we've started that analysis. I do not have any time frame or anything that I can confirm as to what the outcome of that analysis will be, but we have started that fiscal analysis. Got a question in the chat as to how many providers responded to the survey. I want to say it was approximately 27 to 28 providers. I can verify that, but I believe it was in the ballpark of 27 or so providers. Those were my updates, and I'm happy to stay on if there are any other questions that may pop up throughout the rest of the meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you, Margaret. This is Lori, just to piggyback on a couple of things that Margaret talked about. As you are aware, the service of caregiver coaching is being rolled out in the IDRD waiver. There will be training forthcoming for case managers on that service, how to assess and monitor it, that kind of thing. We're trying to plan that training rollout at a time when there are actually providers available to deliver the service. We don't want to do the training too far ahead of provider availability so that case managers really understand the service and know who it's intended for and how to assess for it. We also, as part of that training rollout, plan to do some training for the DDSN case managers on the medically complex children's waiver. We anticipate with the addition of self-directed personal care in that waiver that we may have some people who are interested in moving to that waiver. So we want to make sure that case managers are fully trained on what the target population is, what an appropriate referral to that waiver is, as well as unintended consequences should someone move from a DDSN waiver to the medically complex children's waiver, because obviously they would need to go to into the waiting list, right? So we've been working with the folks at HHS to try to plan both of those trainings for case managers. We're not going to do it as part of the case management work group. We're going to do a separate training to make sure that we get the most participation possible. So just please make sure that that you're on the lookout for that. Hopefully it'll be in the next couple of months. The only other thing I had was to let you know that there were a couple of directives that were approved at the last commission meeting. Both of them were very HR related, so they don't really affect the service delivery system. We're getting very close to reposting the background check policy. And so just be on the lookout for that, as well as the critical incident policy is currently, we're kind of in the final stages of trying to get it ready. There's a question about whether the rates for caregiver coaching are posted. They're not included. Margaret, you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that they're in the rate chart yet that is posted publicly. They are included as part of the waiver amendment that is posted publicly, right? So they're not too hard to find, and I can take a look and try to get them in the chat before the meeting's over.
Yeah, I don't think they have gone into the
I think we're trying to wait
into
until we're ready for, right? Like we're trying not to put too much information out there so that people, kind of forget what they learned without being able to apply it. So that's the delay in the training on it. But I will go look at the rate really quick and I'll post it here, Melissa, so you have it.
Yeah, we generally would not post the rate on the fee schedule until we are ready to go live with the service.
Correct. So Courtney and Carolyn, there's a question about an update on the EHR procurement decision. So I don't know if you guys want to address that.
No, at this time, we don't have an update. I mean, we have what we have and no updates right now. Okay. As soon as we have something, we can provide it.
All right, and so I have billing issues listed under my area, but that's really just there from the list that you guys sent in months ago. And so I'm here to just say, are there any billing issues that we need to discuss? I'm not aware of any that are a concern at the moment. All right, well, I will continue to monitor the questions. I am going to pass it to Stephanie because I think Stephanie had a couple of things that she wanted to talk about, and she's in the conference room.
Thank you, Lori. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stephanie Turner. I'm the Autism Division Director here at DDSN. I came on to talk about an opportunity that the agency has through the University of South Carolina. We have a pilot with them called the Family Training and Support Services Study. This is for individuals who are DDSN eligible and are ages 6 to 20. They can have autism, an intellectual disability, or a related disability to participate. They have to be located within Richland County, Lexington County, really within an hour of Columbia. And what this service is, it's one-to-one guidance from a trained interventionist for up to 12 weeks. And so a family could receive 1 to 3 sessions per week, and each session would last about 1 to 3 hours per session. It's really individualized based on the family. There's no travel required, so the interventionist comes to the home to work directly with the family and the child on really behaviors or life skills, anything that would be a challenge for that family. And for participating, families can earn up to $150. So this is a really great opportunity for families, caregivers, and individuals with autism, intellectual disability, or other related disabilities to participate in. So again, we're just looking for participants in that pilot study. If anybody's looking for more information, they can email the University of South Carolina at ftss@sc.edu. We also have a flyer that you guys could pass out to potentially interested families as well. But I'll be sticking around if anybody has any questions about that service. Thank you.
All right, Mary, I think you are up next with financial updates.
Okay, for audit directives and recoupments on the old statements, we don't have any updates at this particular time. We're still finishing communications with HHS and getting some things tied up before we are able to publish anything. But we'll get those out as soon as possible.
All right. Mary, is that all for you, or you have another?
Yeah, no, I only had the two with the audit directives and the recoupments on the old statements, and both of those are communicating with HHS right now.
Okay, so Carolyn, I think you're next for contract updates.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I just have a few updates regarding contracts. So we do not anticipate making any substantial changes this year. The legal department is going to continue working with the finance department. And just as it's always been done, finance department will send those out for DocuSign. That should start in May and it will continue throughout June. So hopefully we can wrap up on time with getting them out. If you have specific questions, you can certainly send them to the normal email here for the forum agenda. That one you can send them to. We will try to answer any questions you may have. I will caution that we cannot give legal advice though. So if you have specific questions, you really should get your own counsel to consult with. But that's all I have for today.
All right. Well, the only item left on the agenda other than the next meeting is any additional questions or remarks. You guys can unmute and or type questions in the chat. So there's a question that says, will early intervention contracts be included in the contracts in May and June? That would be yes, right? Because they're the service contracts. Yeah, so they should be, any contract should be included there that you currently have. All right. Well, if we don't have any additional questions, the next meeting is scheduled for Monday, May 19th at 2:00. We'll let you know if there's any changes to that. And we really appreciate you guys being here today. All right. Thank you so much.
For the coaching, 32.